went out, text Manu, he's like, yeah, I'm selling a few beers and that, come meet me. So I went and met him. Mate, I've never felt so untouchable walking in the club in all my life. I had all the Tuilagi's around me. And they literally looked like my bodyguards, mate. I had all the Tuilagi's around me. Little old me just, mate, just like bumping people. People want to look at me, mate, I have a load of these.
This week's Offload episode is brought to you by Erwin Mitchell, the official legal partner of England Rugby, supporting the England team throughout the Six Nations. Hello, and thanks for joining us on RugbyPass Offload with me, Mark Edwards, joined by Ryan Wilson. And taking Max's place for the week, we have, without doubt, the most informed player in the Premiership at the moment. It's Freddie Burns, and later we'll be joined by England's Ollie Lawrence. Firstly, Freddie, welcome on the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, cheers, mate. You're not going to make me read like an extract from a book or something, are you? Like Leheath does. I can't really read, mate. It's pretty hard.
No, definitely. You've got to do everything he does. You've got to say weird quotes. You've got to do weird voices. Mate, I'll tell you what, I've just found a really long hair in this new bit of clobber that I've got. Look at this. It's that
probably yours.
No. That ain't mine. And
cheers,
nosy boy. Appreciate it, mate.
Right, can you put the air down, please? Can we have the air down for an episode?
Oh, not the whole episode, but...
Oh, look at it. How a man can change just with a hairband. Oh, mate,
Freddie, do you trust grown men with long hair?
It creeps me out a little bit, I'll be honest.
Mate.
When it's tied up, the difference between hair being tied up and down and when it's down is just...
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Pretty extreme, but yeah, you just got to applaud a man of Ryan's age to have a full hair.
Mate, it's good to have you on, our step-in host. Unbelievable. Always there when we need you.
Mate, listen, my whole career has been pretty much defined as a replacement, mate. So whenever I get the shout, I'm used to it. I'm just constantly ready to go. Never quite picked first, but the minute Fordy's off or the minute Leheath's got issues, Burnsy's in. Do you know what I mean? Always ready.
Hey, that's the sort of man you want to be, though. Always dependable. Someone that you can depend on. Unbelievable.
Yeah, needed, not wanted.
I love it.
You know what I mean? I'll take it.
Too right. Well, listen, it's good to have you on, brother.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So let's just kick off with that. It seems that Borthwick was right all along when he called you up in Japan last year, saying you've got the best stats or some of the best stats in the world on the old Moneyball formula. Come back to Leicester, help us win the Prem. Is that?
Is it happening? I tell you what, there's a long way to go. I'll be honest with you. And the weekend was a good lesson for us against. Obviously, Saracens are probably the benchmark of English rugby. Right, they've had their issues, but they're still a quality team. And look, we've had a good season so far, but we're very aware that there's a long way to go and a lot of improvement to get better. So I'm just enjoying the fact that obviously Fordy got called up to England, and it gave me a chance to have a little run in the 10 shirt, mate. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have got it because he's been in good form. So I'm just happy to have had that chance and just contributed a bit and just enjoying having a run around.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch much rugby at the weekend. Did you play? Did you have a game?
Mate, honestly, I played. Right, we played Sarries away. It was freezing, windy, and honestly, I take my hat off, obviously, to like the forwards of running, like contacts, all this sort of stuff. Happy days. There is nothing worse than being a fullback on a day like that when literally you stood there, mate. I stood there for the first 12 minutes, I reckon, 12, 15 minutes, no involvements. Like, it was just like knock on, scrum, kick, whatever. But, Matt, I was freezing cold. And
I bet it wasn't even fucking cold. What was the temperature? Come on, mate. Try cold up here, mate. Try cold up here.
Yeah, that's different. But but it was like windy cold, mate. It was just, mate, it was a tough game. It was actually a good old dogfight. There was a wind going right down the pitch, so you knew it was going to be a game, the old cliche game of 2 halves. But to be fair to Sarries, mate, they did unbelievably well, and they scored a try just after half-time. Vincent Cox scored, which just gave them that buffer that we couldn't quite close up. So, like, it was tough, but we move on. We try and bounce back. London Irish this week.
Oh, bloody hell! Well, mate, yeah, I'll tell you about cold. You'll know cold when you come up here. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable, mate.
How do you find? Quick question, right? Because you play on a rubber crumb now, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. When it's cold, like I made a tackle at the weekend, and I was a little bit. I won't say cold then. I'll say chilly. Right, and it was like razor blades across my skin.
Yeah.
It was honestly, it was horrible. So the rest.
There's nothing worse. When the crumb freezes, it goes like concrete.
Mate, it was horrible. Like, I genuinely made a tackle and I thought I was going to look down. There was going to be, I thought like jaws had bit my arm or something, mate. It felt horrendous. Can you tell I'm a back, Ryan? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but listen, I'm the same. I've been in games. We played Lyon once, and there was an injury, but it was so cold that I actually went up to the ref, and there was an injury. We knew they were going to go for the points. It would have been the half over, and I said to the ref, mate, can you just give them the 3 points, and we just go in for half time and leave whoever's injured out on the field because I'm freezing, mate. He was like, no, we can't do it. I was like, we're going to die of hypothermia out here. Do you and none of your boys like stick the old, the clicky things that you put down your socks and pull them out, the hand warmers?
No, I should have done that. I'll tell you what as well, is I'm going to be honest. I know you can do it if you want, but I'm dedicated. You can't play in tights, mate.
No, unbelievable.
Like, literally, you can't. And that's me being old school, mate. I'm 31 now, hey. Yeah, all these young'uns wearing tights. Like, you just can't do it. But
was Sean Maitland wearing them?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm going to say that's why he caught the eyeball and I didn't. No, a few of their boys did. I get it. Don't get me wrong. But for me, I just like.
Yeah, none of the boys up here have worn them yet in the game. So they know they'll get a lot of stick. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, mate, I used to wear shoulder pads, mate. I look at pictures of me back in the day. I don't wear shoulder pads now. I used to wear shoulder pads. Honestly, Tom Brady would be proud of them, mate. They were huge.
I think I've seen a picture of that, and the old boy emo haircut.
Mate, just there's a time. I'm going to be honest. Right. So this week is my 200th Premiership game. This week.
There
right?
He is. That's why we got him on.
Let me get that. Let me just sorry. No. But the reason I tell you that, thanks for the round of applause. The reason I tell you that is because I've looked. So some people have dragged out like pictures of like the first few games that I played and stuff like that. And honestly, it's a monstrosity. How I ever played. I had shoulder pads up here. I look like I can't even tell you. It's terrible. Blonde highlights, like don't get me wrong, the lid's not that much better now. Like, I still can't grow a beard either. Look at these whiskers I get. Right?
Mate. I know. Yeah, see, I've also recently got my 200th, but yeah.
Sorry, old reach arounds, good guys.
But it's when that's when all the old pics start coming out of the woodwork, eh, mate? But the funny thing is, you don't seem to give a fuck because you're firing them out there on Instagram like you wouldn't believe. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. Mate.
Working on it's content, isn't it? That's all it is nowadays.
Ryan, your boss was very happy with what he labelled a diabolical second half performance against Scarlets. You conceded 4 tries and stats, 14 turnovers in that period. How angry was he afterwards?
Yeah, he was pretty pissed off. I was going to say it would have been good to have Max on this week because they lost a 20-0 lead. And it made me feel a bit better. When I saw it in the brief, I was like, "Oh, thank God for that." Max is in the shit as well. But then I'll turn it on and he's not even here. So yeah, it was a tough one. But listen, we'll be all right. You're not a bad team overnight. We just had one bad half, and that was it. But I'll tell you what we did do, which was hard work. We flew down there and back on the same day.
What time was kickoff?
What? 5 o'clock kickoff. Flew down on the same day. We were on a bus at 6:30 in the morning.
Right, did they give you a room though to kip in, or was it one of those where you just put the chair down in the meeting room and just sort of?
No. To be fair, we've done that before. We got the old chairs in the meeting room, but now we got a hotel room. So I don't think it would have cost any cheaper, but it was a rearranged game. I think that had something to do with it. So because of COVID, it was a rearranged game. So it was all last minute. So yeah, no, we got a hotel room. I was stuck in with Lewis Bean though, who ex-army man.
Mate, we've all had those roomies. Like, I'm a good roomie, mate. Like, I'm pretty quiet. Like, I keep myself some roomies, man.
Oh, God. Who's the worst?
Connor, I was with Cowan Dickey. So Luke's brother, Tom at Tigers. And don't get me wrong, when he was awake, it was great, mate. The bloke is sort of, I want like Cornish through and through, like some great stories, all that sort of stuff. Then the minute he went to sleep, I honestly, I thought he was dying a couple of times. Like genuinely, but then I do the old
nothing worse.
Do the old. You get the drawer between the two beds normally. Yeah. What I do is I open that and then I slam it shut as hard as I can, and then go to sleep, and then have a look and see, and then he'll wake up, and I'll just be asleep, and he won't know what it is. But then he'll start making the same noise again. It was honestly, I woke up the next morning, I was just like, went down. I reckon I had about an hour and a half's kit. It was terrible.
Yeah, there's nothing worse, is there? Nothing worse than a snorer. And like, that's it. Once you're into the night shift, you're into the night shift.
But the problem is, he's such a nice kid when he's awake. Do you know what I mean? Like, wake up, you can't be mad at him. You sort of wake up, you're like, oh, I fucking had no sleep. Like, and you wake up, he's like, morning. And you're like, oh, all right, mate. Like, you know what I mean? You can't be mad at him. Yeah, but it's tough sometimes.
Just on the subject of your missed night out, right? Have you got, or to both you boys, a weird night out in a sort of rural town that you can that springs to mind, or like the weirdest rural town that you've been to on the Smash?
So what springs to mind for me was that changes now is it was the old, used to fly on like just like an EasyJet flight or whatever. Used to fly on a commercial flight. Like now, I don't know what to do at Glasgow, but at Tigers and that, you're normally on like a private flight.
Yeah, we charter everywhere now because of COVID.
Yeah. So you like charter, which is good because it's just you and the boys. But I remember like early days at Gloucester going out, getting absolutely shit-faced in like La Rochelle or Bordeaux or somewhere like this. And then you'd be on the bus and all the small airports would be closed. So it'd be like a 3-hour trip. So you wake up the next day, you'd have to leave at like 8. You're probably getting in at like 5:30.
How weird is that the thing, by the way, that how long ago does that feel like we used to get on a normal flight? Like, because obviously we travel every other weekend, we're traveling away, and we would be on a flight every other weekend. And yeah, I feels like, well, it's probably been 2.5, 3 years since we've done a squeezy jet or a Jet 2 somewhere with a load of random people on the plane. I feel like I haven't done that for years. That's mental to think that. Like some of the young boys that play at Glasgow at the moment, they would never have experienced that. You're exactly right. You turn up to the airport and you'd all be hungover. Yeah. And you'd be getting on a plane with a load of civilians, let's call them.
Oh, here's the thing as well, right? So I'm obviously like surname Burns. When we used to charter a flight back at Leicester, it was always Burns and then Cockerell was the next one. So if we got on flights and you were given like seat numbers and we had to sit there, I'd sit down and I'd be like, please no. Please no. Then up comes Cockers, and sometimes the seat at once, and I'm just like, it was horrible. And then I'd put my headphones on, I'd be dribbling over his shoulder and all that sort of stuff. Like, it was torture. And then I come back and it's Borthwick and Burns.
Oh.
No, it's not. It's a free for all now, so I'm happy. But Jesus, there's some awkward flights. Awkward flights.
Oh yeah, there's nothing worse. I love seeing one of the young boys though stuck next to the coach. And they're sat there and they're like looking, trying like just keeping their head down because you're going,
headphones on, neck thing on, just not looking, just sleeping.
Yeah. Oh, you see the coach just open the laptop. You're like, you're in for a long flight, brother.
Especially if you've had an absolute mare that game. I've had a couple of shockers in Europe, and then you're sat there and the coach gets the laptop out and you're like, I mean, you feel like you've got to go, yeah, I should, I could go out the line a bit there, or I could, God, torture.
So we're delighted to be joined by Worcester in England centre, Ollie Lawrence. Hi, Ollie. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yeah, good to be here.
Nice to meet you, mate. Good to have you on.
Ollie, remind me, when we played FIFA, we played against each other, didn't we? Did you beat me, yeah?
No, you beat me.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I did. Sorry,
nice.
Unbelievable. Please tell me you were Chelsea, Fred.
I can't remember, mate. That was right at the start of lockdown.
Yeah. Right, Ollie. Firstly, how are you doing in terms of, you've been out injured for a bit. Has it been pretty frustrating with a lot of the sort of chopping and changing that's been going on in England's midfield of late?
It's been frustrating not to be on the field. I think I've kind of had like back-to-back injuries of kind of the same thing, so it's been a bit frustrating, especially like watching from the sideline with Worcester and obviously with England. But hopefully towards the back end of it now, and hopefully a month and a half away from being back out towards the end of the season.
Excellent. The lads are coming up against a very tough Ireland side this week. You started against them this time last year. From your perspective, how difficult a team are they to play?
Yeah, I think they're extremely difficult just to break down. I think they always seem to bring the physical side of their game against England. I've had fortunate to play against them a couple of times. It's always been quite a physical encounter. But I think kind of with the game being at Twickenham, hopefully that should give the boys a bit of an advantage playing on home turf, and hopefully we can turn them over.
Ryan, you always loved Twickenham, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, they love me down there. They absolutely love me. You've not been banned or anything from down there, but I don't know, mate. I think the Irish, they're absolutely outstanding at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they are. They're playing extremely well, especially their club teams as well. They've seemed to be getting some results lately.
Yeah, well, they're basically Leinster, aren't they? That's the problem. They're effectively, they are Leinster, and Leinster are doing pretty well as well. So I don't know. I think you boys will have a tough old day. Where is it? Is it Twickenham?
Yeah.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because everyone's talking England down. They did a good job last week, obviously, but mate, with the players they've got, you boys obviously know a bit more. With the players they've got, like so many good individual players, they just don't seem to be firing. I don't think they're like firing on all cylinders. I think when it clicks, it's going to click for them, and then they'll be unbelievable. But it's just finding that bit. Like that Freddie Stewart, how good, big fella, unbelievable. The wingers, you've got your old mate Marcus Smith running the show at 10. Some good centres in there. The forward pack again, like unbelievable. I just don't see how they're not just blowing teams away at the moment.
I've had a few actually. So I've had a couple calf tears, and then the latest one, I tore my hamstring in one of the games. Actually, funnily enough, I did it in the warm up. Kind of didn't really realise how bad it was, and then obviously as I played, it kind of just second half it kind of just felt a bit worse. And then after the game, I had a scan. It was like a 3-seater, and then every time we've taken kind of the conservative route, there's just been like a few hiccups with pushing on after and starting sprinting around the 80-90%, but kind of taking it a lot slower this time, not trying to rush it back. So I'm hoping that it's kind of fixed itself, and I'll be back running about.
How long you got? How long do you reckon till you're back going?
I reckon about 6 weeks. That's like we said about 5 weeks left. I think it's been about 5 weeks already. I think it'd be about another 5, but I'll probably leave it to the 6th week. Probably better to be safe this time around. Seeing it's been the 3rd time since I've done it.
Too much of a specimen, mate. That's the problem. All these specimens. You want to be like me, mate, made of custard. Honestly, you're right. You can't tear rubber. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, you backs are built different. See, that's exactly. I'm just stick at 70%. Never go above 70.
Yeah.
But some of these boys, like Ollie, I know, like Manu, for instance, stuff like that, mate. Absolute like specimens. Like, do you know what I mean? So highly, and people, the mistake people make is people go and say like Manu, like Ollie, and they'll say, not fit enough or this. It's completely the opposite. They're so. I'm sorry. I know I don't want to be. I know your Saturday is quite awkward talking about, but you're so highly strung, like that you're susceptible to those soft tissue injuries and stuff. And people don't understand that it's not about under conditioning, not fit enough, all that sort of stuff. It's almost the complete opposite. You're almost too well conditioned that soft tissue injuries can occur pretty regular.
What Fred's trying to say is you like a racehorse, right? A pristine racehorse, and there's a couple old donkeys sat here.
Yeah.
Do a podcast.
Because I'm the three-legged blind one, mate, that you put 100 quid on the nose to win. Do you know what I mean? That's me at Cheltenham next week.
Don't. It's Cheltenham next week.
Yeah, next week.
Oh, you boys are close enough for that. Surely you're going.
Yeah, I think we're going sometime next week. I think we're going. All the boys. It's Prem Cup week as well, I think, next week. So I think there's a mix of games, a mix of teams. So I think quite a lot of boys will be heading down.
See, there is that added bonuses to being injured. You can go on the piss and go down there.
I'm not tempting fate, boys. I'm not tempting fate. I'm going to wait for team selection and just...
Oh, man, I can't believe Cheltenham's next week. I hope the weather's good. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, so you'll get down there. Will there be a theme? I'll bet it's Peaky Blinders or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it'll be something like that. I don't think anything's been put in the chat yet, but I think it'll have to be put in soon. Otherwise, boys will start complaining they've not had enough time to get outfits.
It's Dimes will go as Alfie Solomon's, whatever.
I'm going to get a picture up just to remind myself now.
Oh, so good. Ollie, how's Dimes been since he's been in? He's obviously a character, but I've seen some of the stuff said in the press. And a bit of you thinks, obviously, I'm not going to tee you up here, mate, but some of you think, Jesus, can't be happy hearing that.
I think it's probably gone one of two ways for certain players, depending on probably their experience, probably how they feel within the squad. But I think it's kind of been a breath of fresh air because it's just been a very direct approach. he hasn't really beat around the bush, and I think that's just down to his character, and I think that's what we needed. I think we needed to kick up the arse as a club. I think that's been the case for a while now, and I think if there's someone that's going to come in to do it, I think he's probably the best person that's available to do that for us. I think it may take some time in terms of he's going to want to change the team, potentially like reduce the squad numbers. But I mean, he's proven it at Sale that he took them from probably a bottom 4 team and took them up to a top 4 team. So he's done it before on a smaller budget. And obviously with the cap coming down, I think that's what we're operating with now. And I think from my perspective, obviously I haven't had as much conversations with him in regards to like the training and the rugby, because being out of action at the moment. But in terms of everything we've spoken about away from the field, it's kind of positive from my perspective. And hopefully we'll start pushing on towards the end of the season, getting a few results that we need to get. And I think the main thing for us is just winning our home games. I think that's where he targets us as a club. We need to win our home games, as many of them as possible, and then try and sneak a couple of wins away and get a few losing bonus points, and it sets you up nicely mid-table.
I love the fact he calls Garves a dinosaur as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, he does, yeah. Yeah.
If I see him dressed like that, down.
Imagine, I actually saw him at Cheltenham. 2019 before COVID kicked off. I saw him.
Who, Dimes or him?
Yeah, no, not Alfred Solomon's, Dimes. I was in the green room experience, whatever it's called.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was there, and then Dimes walked in as I went to the bar, and I was already a few deep. And I got to admit, I'd say I was a bit nervous, mate, because I've not really ever spoke to him, but you just see him as this sort of, pretty aggressive, no nonsense. And I thought, oh, here we go. I'm off to Japan. He's just going to unload on me here. But he was all right, actually, decent bloke.
Yeah.
Right, talking about coaches, Ollie, you're obviously still very young, but you've already got 7 caps under your belt for England. You must have heard about this sort of Eddie Jones training camps from the other boys before you went in. What was the thing that surprised you the most?
I don't know why I was so surprised by this. I don't know whether that's based off club experience, but how diligent boys are with how they prepare for training. Like, obviously for games, I kind of had seen that, obviously playing club rugby, but for training, and especially how early boys come out to training to prep themselves for it. I think I kind of underestimated that. It probably took me 2 weeks to get used to how hard the training sessions were, especially the main session usually on a Wednesday, which in my opinion was harder than most games I've ever played.
I mean, we've heard a lot, obviously, from lots of different people about some of the things that Eddie does in the camps. Did you see anything sort of strange or different from your time?
Did you have the fake South African people cardboard cutouts of people put around the hotel and that?
Yeah, we did have that in the autumn. We had when we played against teams, we'd have when our main team room was actually outside, because obviously it was at the height of COVID when we were playing. We'd have cards of certain players that were targets for the week, and kind of the players that we needed to kind of shut down.
Fred, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you see that? What are you doing to it?
What, the cardboard cutout?
Yeah,
I'm jabbing it, mate.
Exactly. Or what are you drawing on it?
Oh, big penis.
Yeah, penis and a moustache every time.
Did the cardboard cutout have like cameras in the eyes? Do you know what I mean? As you walk past, you think, is Eddie? I'm like spying. Do you know what I mean? I actually I got told a great story about remember, Will Evans, the Quins back row,
yeah,
injured. So he got called up quite early on into his club career to train with England. And he got a lift down with Genji, and apparently they've got out the car in the car park. And as they're walking across, Eddie Jones is there, and he's just looked at Genji. He's gone, "All right, Genji, who's your mate?" Like this. And Will Evans, I don't know Will, he's changed a bit now, but back then he was a proper nervous wreck. And I just imagine as a young lad, he must have been 19 in camp. It's the boss who selected you, and he's like, "Who's your mate?" Straight away, I think I'll just cry and get back in my car and drive home. But it's class, man. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Ollie, who's messing around with the cardboard cutouts? Is anyone doing anything to them?
I haven't seen anyone touch the cardboard cutouts.
Bullshit. No,
I haven't seen it. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone touch them.
See, I'd be stealing them, putting them in people's rooms. They'd be in people's cupboards. Nothing else. Yeah. No other weird things, then, Ollie.
No, there's nothing too weird for me. He's got a lot of nicknames for certain boys. I think. Yeah, I think. I get called nicknames more so than your actual name. So like when I first went into camp, I was probably a bit on the heavy side. And skin folds weren't great, although I thought at the time that they were like reasonable until I saw everyone probably sub 65 other than I think it was Lenny was the only one. And then I came in and then I had a sit down, and then for the rest of that camp I was called Chubbs. Every time I was asked something, it was Chubbs. And then I remember I dropped my skinnies, but I think it was about 15 or something like that, maybe 15, 20. And then I was called Chubless. I've had a few nicknames at camp, but I'm glad Chubbs has gone for once.
We're going to just quickly touch upon something. You may have seen this, or you may have read it as well. He wrote in his book, and I'm just going to quote it for you, talking about you saying...
It's the book club, is it?
It's not quite the book. I'm not going to do it in the accent because I think it takes away.
What's the accent? I know about
It's actually...
Send it over the phone quick.
Ollie, he said, he said he's still a kid, only 21, but the way that some of the media rave about him, you would think he's already assured of becoming one of the best players in the world. He might do that one day, but his attitude was not hungry or disciplined enough. Now, did you know that was going to be in there, and sort of how did you react to it?
I didn't know that was going to be written in there. And I
never heard of it either. That's the first time I've heard it.
I knew after who told me about it. I think it was one of the boys at the club brought it up and said, Eddie said this about you in his book. And I was just like, right, okay, cool. And I kind of, when I first heard it, I was like, right, I didn't really understand. And then I realized obviously a book takes a lot longer to publish than 6 months, for example. So when he was referring to what he was referring to, I think it was the start of the campaign when I first joined up with England in the autumn of last year.
So he was talking about Chubbs.
Yeah, exactly. And I think from that regard, I think I probably was getting a bit too much hype from the media. And that can obviously go one of two ways. But I think for him especially, it kind of probably thought it was going to make me go away with the fairies. And I think, I think it was just his honest opinion of where he thought I was at as a player then. I think from that point on, I think I made good steps to be in a better position and being a better player. But obviously for it to come out a year later, it probably wasn't the best timing. And I was getting peppered from a lot of boys about it. But yeah, no, I guess it's one person's opinion. You can't win over everybody. And I think at the time it was probably accurate with what he wrote.
Did you call him out?
Yeah.
No.
Do you give a text, boy, Eddie, what's this about? Do you say anything? You've not? It's one of those things you've never spoken about it.
We've never spoken since that was released.
I think
not even in like that. You got to slip that in as like a bit of a joke.
Nah, yeah, I don't know how that's gonna be taken. Nah. I do want to play for him again.
Exactly.
No, the way to do it is take it to him and say, "You're talking about Chubbs here, aren't you?"
Yeah, maybe that's the best way to go about it.
Fair play biting your tongue as well. I got to admit, I know you're young in that, but I would just be. I wouldn't think I'm tough, but I'd have to ask him. I'd have to say, Eddie, what do you know what I mean? I think fair play. I'd have to ask a question.
To be fair, he also said you could become one of the best players in the world. So I would take that as a big positive. You're obviously a big admirer of, we chatted about Manu, and how good has he been to learn off, and sort of what's he like off the pitch? Apparently he's very good value.
Unfortunately, I've never been involved in a camp with Manu. So when I joined up for the first time in England, he was out with an Achilles injury. And then obviously this campaign, him being back, obviously I've been injured and not been involved so far this year. But in terms of player, it's something I've always wanted to do is being trained and play with Manu. I think he's someone I looked up to as when I was younger, and hopefully that one day that will happen. I can learn off him. But yeah, no, hopefully one day that will happen. But I'm just hoping, he can get back fit and get back on the field because he makes such a big difference for the team.
Have you been out with Manu at all?
I think I briefly bumped into him it would have been my first season, end of season. We were down at the Ship, and I think all the squads were down there. I think there was us, Tigers, Sale, and it was I think we had a brief chat at the bar. I don't think he knew who I was at the time. But now that was pretty interesting conversation.
That's funny, You see when teams get a week off, like next week, you'll all be down at Cheltenham all at the same time, all so you'll see your old mate Fred down there steaming next week.
Mate, my debut for Leicester, we played Newcastle, and Manu started at 13, and Newcastle was when both Alex and Alessandro were at Newcastle. So played against them, played the game. All the rest of them, Freddie, Henry, those lot were all there watching. And we finished the game, obviously it was my debut, and I was like, yeah, come on, let's go out for a few beers. Went out, text Manu, he was like, yeah, I'm just having a few beers and that, come meet me. So I went and met him. Mate, I've never felt so untouchable walking in the club in all my life. I had all the Tuilagi's around me. And they literally looked like my bodyguards, mate. I had all the Tuilagi's around me. Little old me just in, mate. Just like bumping people. People want to look at me, mate. I have a load of these. And then Alessandro started forcing me to neck drinks. And it all went downhill from there, mate. But honestly, like Manu, I think the best thing about Manu that people don't understand is his work ethic, mate, is honestly unbelievable. Like, he's so dedicated and like works hard. You see that with the way that he's dropped his weight and stuff like that. And man, he's unbelievable. But he's such good value on the drink, and just in general. Like, he's just a lovely kid that you just want to see get back fit because he is unstoppable when he's on fire. So that family is an impressive family, and he's probably the most impressive out of all of them.
Ollie, who do you get on best with in the England camp?
Probably, I'd say, Ant Watson and Sinks, probably two people I grew close to over like the year that I was involved with England. Those two are probably the closest I was with. Also Genji as well. I think quite a lot of the senior lads I just tried to mingle with, and for those three are probably the three that I probably grew closest to.
Anthony's a bit of a gamer, isn't he?
Yeah, he loves his game, and he smashes it all the time. I remember going to his room all the time, knocking on the door. He's like, mate, can you leave me alone? I'm gaming. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go downstairs.
What's the crack with those boys? I see him and Liam Williams. They're always doing, what is, mate, I'll sound like an old git here, but what is Twitch? What is that?
So Twitch is like a platform where, so like, say, for example, I'm gaming right now, people can watch me game.
Oh, get a life. Honestly.
Look,
Ollie, not you, just Twitch. What do you call them? Twitchies, whatever. I'm going to be honest, right? Just go play the game yourself. Don't watch someone else play the game.
No, but it's like rugby. Like, obviously, like, we watch people play the sport. It's guess the people that love gaming is watching the best people game. Like, they give money to the gamers. Yeah, like, they'll be watching on the stream and they'll like donate like £10-20 and they'll have like thousands of subscribers. And for like every subscriber to get like, I don't know, it's like £10-15. So that's why like the top gamers are like multi-millionaires.
So if you weren't playing rugby, that's you then. You in
if I wasn't playing rugby, like, what would I do? It'd either be I'd either want to like try my best to like become good at golf, but I wouldn't be able to be a pro golfer.
Nice, I like it.
But like, I'd probably try and go back to playing cricket. Like, that's the sport that I loved as a kid. And kind of the one that I let go to play rugby. So I definitely want to give that a crack.
Mate, it's never too late.
Hang on. Let's go with that, Ollie, because, just a quick sort of a reach around sesh for you.
All right, reach around.
You literally, hang on. So, Ollie, you were on the books, or you played academy football with Aston Villa and Birmingham and Warwickshire Cricket, right? Is that? Yeah. And then had to kind of. And you were national, you swimming in the nationals. So you basically had the choice of whichever one. And then you chose rugby. Now go on. Alternate. You tell us a bit more about that, and also the alternate universe where you decided to become a footballer or a cricketer.
Yeah, so I kind of started off playing all the sports. So like, swimming, football, cricket, rugby. And I kind of loved football growing up as a kid, playing at school with my mates. But I got into like the academy setup quite young. And then I did it for like 3 or 4 years, and it was just so intense. Like the amount of pressure like parents and the coaches are putting on like the kids, and especially like myself at like 8, 9, 10 years old, I was like, this wasn't fun anymore. What I enjoyed doing was playing with my mates, and obviously I wanted to play like a good level, but that wasn't for me. And then that's kind of when I turned to cricket and rugby. And I kind of played those hand in hand, obviously winter rugby and summer cricket. And I kind of did that all the way up, and I kind of was level playing field until probably like 16. And then obviously I was fortunate enough to play England in the 16s. And I think that's what kind of swung it for me. I luckily got a scholarship to Bromsgrove, and then rugby that was where I was headed. My mindset was, let's try and get a professional contract. And then obviously in my second to last year, first year of sixth form, Worcester said that I was going to get a contract when I left. So I kind of was then, cricket had to be put to one side. I was just playing in the seconds at school, just swinging about, seeing if I could hit as many sixes as possible, which was always fun. And it's just something different to do in the summer, because I wasn't the best suited to sevens, to be honest with you.
Do you have any regrets of choosing the sport that requires you to do the most work, get the most injuries, yet get paid the least money? Do you ever hold a regret? Do you ever go to bed at night thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, I picked the wrong one? I'm going to be honest, I would. I'll be upset.
I wouldn't say I have any regrets. I do have thoughts as to where I would be if I didn't play rugby. I'll be lying if I said I didn't. But I'm glad I've chosen rugby. I mean, I've got to represent my country and do what I love doing for a job. So we might not get paid as much as the cricketers and the footballers, but I mean, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I've enjoyed it so far.
For the record, I love this game too. Just want to put it out. It's a game.
There's all those people paying Fred's wages. They're like, just see on that then. I bet you put your mind to golf. You'd be a scratch golfer in no time.
I don't know. Golf's one of those sports you play one day and you'll play well. The next day you'll shoot 20 over. And the next day you'll shoot 10 over. The next day you'll be 30 over. Like it's so impressive how good they are, and how much like I don't think you realise until you've actually played golf, like how they get the ball to go where they want it to go. Like so like often it's a joke. It's a joke. It's ridiculous. It's just so impressive.
But you're obviously one of those blokes, you turn to something and you can get the knack of it pretty quick.
Yeah, I just get addicted. Like when I start doing something, if I'm bad at it, like I won't stop until I am good at it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then when I get good at it, then it's like, you either take it too far or you just simmer down a bit.
I despise people like you, Ollie. I'm going to be honest. You're a good looking rooster. You're good at every sport. You've probably got straight A's in your GCSEs, mate. And there's people like
GCSEs.
You know what I mean? You look at me, right? I've got the body of a melted candle. I look like Gernot Gaddafi, and I'm terrible at everything bar rugby. Like,
and he can't do an American accent without going.
American accent. Literally, I despise people like Ollie. I'm going to be honest. I just want it on the record though. I beat him at FIFA.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I bet. Now knowing that the man you are, Ollie, I bet that was bloody tough to take from him. I can only imagine the abuse he was giving you as well whilst playing.
The problem was I had to stream it for the channel, and then it turns out afterwards the stream link didn't even work. All it did was bring down my Wi-Fi, so I was like playing, and my players were like jumping all over the place.
Literally.
And I remember we went to extra time, and then all of a sudden he gets a corner. He whips it in, and then I'm trying to like clear it. Nah, my players aren't moving. Next minute I see he's just Bayern Munich 3-2 up. I'm like,
wow, there we are. It was Bayern Munich. You cheater. You're a cheater, Fred.
As soon as we got to extra time, I had to put another 50p in the meter, mate. I was trying to find a ring. That's what I was twitching about. We've all got our excuses. You know what I mean?
You see at both your clubs, you boys love it when they get the football out. How good when they get the football out?
Yeah, it's class. I'm loving it. Keep you up is it's like literally the first 10, 15 minutes of the warm-ups, just either two touch or keep you ups. It's just so fun. Like it's so weird how you get so excited by a ball, which isn't the one you're supposed to be playing with.
Heads and balls at the beginning of the training. There's nothing better. Oh, man.
I'll be honest with you. I used to like in my teenage years. I used to fancy I never had trials for anyone, but obviously I'm a fly out, so I used to fancy myself as an alright footballer. The minute we get the ball out now, honestly, it is fucking terrible. It is like just chucking limbs. It's like giving a toddler a FIFA controller. Like, do whatever. It is terrible. You just think, oh God, this is embarrassing.
Some of the Thomas and Simones, you worry about them when they get going. When you get the football out, they just don't have a clue. You're just taking everyone out.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous game.
Kenny Murray-Murray-Varley, right, is the only player, right, who is left-footed yet refuses to use his left foot in football. I have to keep telling him, whenever he's on my team, I'm like, Kenny, now remember, you're left-footed. That's the one you want to kick the ball with. And then they put Nemani Nandola in goal, mate. Absolutely no chance of scoring.
Ollie, let's just quickly go. You're great mates with Ben Teo, who's possibly, we've heard, one of the loosest men to ever play rugby. Can you reveal to us the loosest thing you've seen him do on a night out?
What can I tell and what can't I tell? That's what's going through his mind.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
I'm
going to dull this down a
mate.
bit. I'm going to dull it down a bit. So probably my first pre-season ever. So I've just joined from school. I'm probably a month in, and then the boys are going away for the first team camp to Spain. The boys have nominated Benny to be my mentor. Not like club decided. Benny's just gone, yeah, right, I'm taking you. So yeah, it was basically do as you're told, do as you do. Don't lift your wallet out. Just go with it. And then we're at like this beach bar after I think it was like the third, fourth day, like dying down towards before we leave. And I've just seen Benny just go over to our backs coach, and our backs coach would always wear like these like specific Adidas white with like green striped sunglasses. And he's just there, and all of a sudden Benny's like, mate, like, fuck, give me those sunglasses, mate. And he just takes the sunglasses off him. Like, he's got probably a pint in one hand, bag in the other, and he's just like taking the glasses off, and he's like, these are mine now. And I'm just there like, right, okay. And then Benny like takes the glasses off and goes, wear them, mate. Like, they ought. So I was like, you keep them. I don't need them.
Yeah, I don't want
I've got like my backs coach that's just staring at me, and I've got Benny here like pushing me to get these glasses on. And obviously all the boys start egging him on. Then he's like, yeah, right, okay, fine, okay. So I've got the glasses on. I can like see through, like, because obviously it's at night, and I'm seeing through these sunglasses. I can't really see much, and then I'm gonna see the backs coach. It's just he's like, oh my god, like, nah, this isn't going well. And then Benny starts mimicking him. Like with his Irish accent on his famous quotes that he would say like throughout training and the day, and then I'm just there like, right, yeah, this is not how I can behave. That's probably the loosest thing I've seen him done, and I think that's probably very tame, to be honest with you, compared to a few things I've heard. So yeah.
Who was the backs coach? What was his name?
No, I'm not gonna do it.
Come on, reveal the backs coach, because
it was Neil Doak. He was our coach from when it was my first season. Neil Doak. He loved his catchphrases and his sunglasses, and Benny kind of ruined it for him because we never heard half the catchphrases for the rest of the season. I felt bad, but Benny was great. I mean, he might have taken the piss quite a lot of the time, and but yeah, he was a good lad. He looked after me, and yeah, I mean, he played for England multiple times. Was kind of a senior figure at the club, although he didn't play as many games probably as the club would have liked. But yeah, he's a great bloke.
Ollie, quick one on. Wait, actually, we wanted to get Ryan's on the red card for your old pal Duhan at the weekend. Got a straight red at the weekend, right? Thoughts, and then Ollie, also thoughts.
Well, right. I don't know the rules on this, but I do know the rules on this. You can't forearm people to the face, but it's not that bad, is it? I would have just given him a yellow card. I don't mean it's not reckless, is it? He's just put his arm out and caught him on the chin. So I would have gone yellow card. But listen, I'm always on the side of not sending people off. I think it ruins the game. And fair enough, he could have got a hand to the face, but he's not. I've seen a few players that used to come in and carry like that and bump with their forearm, which obviously got taken out. They stopped people doing that completely. So along the lines of it, you're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to forearm people, especially to the face. But it wasn't that bad. Yellow card in my eyes. Ollie, talk to me.
Yeah, I'm similar. I watched the game as well, and I thought it was a yellow. I think it was really harsh. I just think it's difficult for him because he's quite a big bloke, and I think he's just tried to. If the winger's like a bit further away, he's probably going to get his hand out in front. But I think he's kind of gone to kind of bump him, realise his head's there, and kind of just followed through. But I think it's just difficult with that because, like, say for example, you are trying to bump someone, but then someone else comes to try and chop tackle you. You're going to end up hitting them in the head with your forearm. Like, you can't get out of the way. So it's one of those things. I saw loads of people saying, like, is his tackle height wrong? Like, and all this. I don't think there's like excuses for it. By the law, I think it should have been a yellow. I think the degree of danger, as they say, I don't think he's intentionally tried to hurt him, and I don't think it's going to cause any lasting damage. But I think he's appeals today, so hopefully it's just stripped down a bit.
Can I just throw a quick suggestion in there? Because, like, this is the thing, right? And I thought you can laugh at this if you want, but I was thinking this. I've thought this a few times over the last couple of months, right? I almost feel like they need to bring in another coloured card, mate, right? Like an orange card where, all right, Van der Merwe could have done more to protect the player who's coming in to tackle him. But it's not for me, a red card needs to go back to being a deliberate foul play, of like disgusting. Do you know what I mean? Like,
intent to hurt someone.
Yeah, it needs to be like a balance where, and even if it's like, I don't know, boys, I'm going to sound stupid here, but even if it's like an orange card, it's like you're in the bin for 10 minutes. That player's not allowed to come back onto the field, but he's still available for selection, because there is that grey area coming now where players are getting red cards for, they have to take responsibility for the tackler or whatever. But at the same time, in rugby instance, it happens in a split second. You haven't got time to think about it. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like, I don't know whether it's a stupid suggestion, but at the minute there's such a gap between a yellow and a red, whereas I just feel like it could be, like, I don't know.
Hey, mate, we talk about it all the time on it, and we're all 100%. I'm with you. Like, an orange card, what we said is 20 minutes. It's worse than a yellow. 20 minutes, and you can't come back on the field. You've got to bring a replacement on. I would have, they are perfect opportunity to give him the orange card, the amber card.
Well, because also it might see him banned for the rest of the Six Nations. So, I mean, do we think bans should carry over sort of domestic and international rugby?
Yeah, I think so, especially if it's like you said, if it's like an intent to hurt someone, red card, like a good haymaker. Yeah. That's got to be a red card, and that's straight off the field, and you get banned for a certain amount of games. So I think that, the carryover, it always has to happen, doesn't it? Otherwise, you get boys doing different things. It happens in football, doesn't it? Does it happen in football with the different competitions? Oh, no, I don't think it does it?
No, it doesn't. Like, if you get banned in, like, the Premier League, you're not banned for Champions League.
Yeah, true. I've never thought. But they get tactical yellow cards, though, don't they? Like, they're all right. It's all part of tactics in football, getting yellow cards, isn't it? So it's very different. But I think it should carry over. You agree, Ollie?
Yeah, I think it should.
An amber card, like Fred suggested, yes, it's a goer.
I think it's a solid suggestion.
There we are.
Fine. Done. We'll get that done in the next sort of 2-3 months, and we'll.
Let's get a petition. Let's get a petition signed. 100,000. It gets spoken about in Parliament. Let's do it.
Can you imagine all the stuff that's going on now, and it's like our next thing: orange cards in rugby.
Imagine that. Oh, God.
Can we? Yeah, sorry. Can I just get everybody's predictions on the 3 Six Nations games, please? Ryan actually has not been too bad, but notoriously, you were started off slowly, but now we need you. Let's start with Ryan. Thoughts? Let's go in order of the games. The big under the Friday night lights in Cardiff, Wales versus France.
Wales, France. I can't see France losing that one. I know they're at Millennium Stadium, but I'm going 29 to France, 14 to Wales. So the other way around, but 29-14 to France.
Okay.
There you have it.
Fred?
I'm going to write that down so I remember.
I'm going to go similar. I think France are just at the minute, just unbelievable. I'm going to go 24-10 to France.
Ollie?
I want to go 28-22 to France.
There we have it. It's a big scoring game.
Big scoring game. Ollie sounds more entertaining. than yours, Ryan. But right, next up, then we've got in Rome, the big one, Italy versus Scotland.
I bloody hope this one's right. I bloody hope I got this one right. It's not going to be a squeaker. We're going to do all right. 23-10. Leave it there. 23-10 to Scotland, obviously. So 23-10 to Scotland in Rome. No issues. Win.
Ready?
I am, just for clickbait's sake, and just
here we go. Content.
I am gonna go. Oh God, I'm just gonna go controversial. I'm gonna go Italy 18-15. That's what I'm gonna say. And to be honest with you boys, do I think that's gonna be the score? No, I think Scotland are gonna win. But at the same time, just because Ryan's here, I'd love to see Scotland lose.
Right, okay. So little wager. Cheltenham's on next week. Little wager between you and I. You got to put 20 quid on it then.
All right, so.
Easiest 20 quid I've ever made.
Yeah,
I bloody hope it is.
Probably, yeah. All right, so.
£20. Monzo. See you there.
£20. Yeah, easy.
Right. Score. Lovely jubbly.
Ollie?
I'm going to go 26-15 to Scotland.
Yeah, he is. There he is. Fred, you're unbelievable, mate.
I know, mate. I know. But hey, listen.
Mate, if you want a life in life in country, etc., as rugby, you can't go throwing out stupid things like that.
Well,
he wants to live in Italy rather than Scotland, mate.
Yeah. Listen, how long haven't Italy won a game for?
100 years, but it's not
7 years.
You never know. It might change.
Boys, backhand.
I'm going to be honest.
Back in Italy, but he says I never won for 100 years.
I'm going to be honest. I've had a hell of a day, boys. I feel slightly delirious. Just get it on the record, but it's you got to just give them a chance. Come on, we got to give them a chance. Otherwise, it's boring.
Hey mate, I would if they'd won a game, but they just starting to frustrate me. Anyway,
no, me too, mate. But
£20. Just
want to make it interesting.
Final one, England, Ireland. Ryan?
22 to Ireland, 21 to England. 1 point in it. I reckon it's going to be very close, but I think Ireland will do the job. Ollie, I don't know why you're laughing. It's got nothing to do with England. It's just Ireland are good. And I just can't see England doing the job, I'm afraid. So at Twickenham, even if it is at Twickenham, I think the Irish will scrape it, 22-21.
Right. I'm going to go 22-21 to England. Sorry, is this serious or not? Yeah. No, okay, I'm joking. No, I reckon it'll be. I think it's a one score. I reckon England by one score. So I do think it will be like a 24-20, 24-23, something like that. I don't know.
Right. Okay. So what are you going? Just give me your actual score. 24.
England 24, Ireland 20.
Right. Okay. Ollie.
17-10 to England.
And there you have it, people. And there you have it.
Okay, thank you. Next bit, we are putting together a timeless 15, the sort of dirtiest, cheekiest 15, if you will. Ryan's 15. Can you boys both think of a player that would make it in?
What when you say dirty, just like shower or like
no, like less like personal hygiene, more like personal smash people in faces.
I think the idea here is, so you thinking like a dirty player in terms of like poking people in the eyes, or someone that's absolutely melting people and like fighting?
That
it could get very controversial. We could upset a lot of people here if we start.
No, that or on the same side, the old, you're like ripping the shoelaces at the bottom of a ruck. That sort of like that person who's just doing shit all the time to get up in people's grills.
It's like Soccer AM when they ask who's the longest in the shower. Do you know what I mean? Like some people answer it longest as in spends the most time. People spend it as in penis size. So if you just say dirtiest, then we just take it. It's open. We can bounce off it. Do you know what I mean?
Let's go. Let's bounce around then. Mine, I'm going to straight in there. Jamie Cudmore. Boys heard of him? Come across him?
Yeah. Canadian dude.
Ollie, you never heard of Jamie Cudmore, have you? Played at Claremont, was at Oyonnax, a Canadian bloke, toughest man on earth, I reckon. Toughest bloke on earth. If you go and have a little look and look up Jamie Cudmore, he wasn't afraid to throw some punches. That was the era. That was the era where you were allowed to throw a haymaker and still be left on the field. There was no orange cards back then, boys. I'm telling you that for sure. But he for me is the first person into the dirtiest 15. Not because he's a dirty player, just because he's a tough bloke. Very tough man, Jamie Cudmore.
See,
Sorry, wait, hang on, Freddie. Can I just add a tiny thing to that, Ryan?
Oh, what?
He also spent a year in jail in Canada for drug dealing. So,
But listen, it might have been wrongly accused. I don't know.
He's got his time. Let the man live.
I've heard a few stories about him. I think he did some sort of. He was a bouncer at some point. It doesn't make him hard, but security, that sort of stuff. I think.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going Jamie Cudmore.
I've
Nice
got
bloke as well. Nice bloke.
I've got one that I can chuck in. Who I'm chucking him in. Like I'm suggesting him because I know if a scrap kicked off, I'd want him on my team. And this might come as a surprise to anyone who knows him because he is actually he's genuinely one of the loveliest blokes you'll ever meet. But I would not get on the wrong side of him, and that is Gareth Delve.
Okay.
You know, and I feel like dirty might be doing him a little bit dirty or a bit of a disservice because he's not a dirty bloke or a dirty player. But all I know is when I was like 19, 20 playing at Gloucester and Chris Halafia is melting me every 5 minutes, every time we played London Irish, there's one man melting him back and that's Delvey. So
Hey, have you back?
yeah, so that's why I'd have Delvey. Not necessarily dirty, but just Jesus, I didn't want to. I seen him once, he took his shirt off outside a club in Cheltenham at 6:30 in the morning, was arm wrestled a whole rugby league team and he just obliterated them. I loved it.
he should have played more for Wales, shouldn't he?
Oh, he was class, mate. And also just such a nice bloke. Like, I've got to put that in there. But if someone turned around to me now and said, Burnsy, you've got to have a scrap tomorrow, you got one bloke coming with you, I'm giving Delvey a call.
There you are then. Someone to back you up.
Brilliant.
Nice. He's at number 8.
Nice.
We got Jamie Cudmore in the row. Delvey at 8. Ollie, who you got?
I don't actually know too many scrappers, but based off like watching rugby, like growing up, like I think someone that's just like constantly like week in, week out, like he's got your back. It's probably like Jack Berger for Saracens.
Nice.
Like, he's tough. Like he ain't got a broken nose for no reason.
Yeah, good option.
Fight kicked off at Gloucester when we played Sarries, and I ran in and went behind him and tried to grab. I've never felt a body like it.
Just made a stone.
Honestly, it was delicious.
Stone man.
I grabbed it and I was like, Jesus Christ, like, you know, he was a lovely bloke, but I remember just grabbing him thinking, oh my God, is this what a man feels like?
This week, we're asking the boys to pick 3 players from the England versus Ireland match. Of course, you guys can pick more than 3, but Ryan, you're trailing Max with 2 rounds to go. The Gloucester Milk Challenge is coming up fast, so you really have to put your balls out on this one. Who are you choosing?
I am choosing Tom Curry, Josh van der Fleer, and it's between Matt Hansen and Freddie Stewart. I'm going to go Freddie Stewart. There you are.
Good choice.
Okay.
There's my 3.
Now, standing in for Max, but the points will count in that way. Freddie and Ollie, give us a player each, and then you can join for a third one.
3 props.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I reckon, first of all, I'd chuck in there.
Tiger Burn.
Yeah, I'm going to keep up.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I'll just chuck him in.
Right, Ollie, you got to pick one now.
Yeah, I'm going Freddie Stewart. I reckon Ireland are going to be kicking some bombs on him, and there's a reason he's called Freddie Airlines. So I reckon he's going to be plucking them out the sky.
There he is. And then you have to agree on one together now.
Mate, this might be a rogue one, but a suggestion. Obviously, Don Brand got COVID. Mate, Alfie Barbary, mate. He's going to be low value because he hasn't played yet. Could get in the mix.
So what?
Hold on a minute, boys. Hold on.
No, he can take that. No, that's good. Yeah, that's
What
good.
a shout.
Well, hold on. I didn't know that mate, he had COVID, did I?
I was pretty sure RugbyPass put it on their Instagram.
But I don't do the Instagram, do I? Shit.
Okay, well, sadly, that is all the time we've got left for this week. Thank you all so much for listening. Huge thank you to Freddie for stepping in, to Ryan as always, and Ollie, thanks for coming on the show, and good luck with your recovery. And Freddie, good luck with the rest of the season. Do like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, lads.
Take it easy.